All right, welcome back, everyone. So the first thing that you need to work on today is this sequencing sheet. You can use your book, this, if you'd like to. I'd like you to go through and complete this sequencing sheet. I'll give you about 5 minutes to do that. So if you hit pause, then come back when you think you have it done, we'll go over it. All right, so now we're back. All right, so let's talk about it. So the very first one, you should have George and Lenny arrive in a clearing. That's where we start this book. The book started with George and Lenny showing up in this clearing, which was described very vividly using lots and lots of imagery. The next thing that happens is Lenny forgets why they're there, and George has to tell them that they're going to go work on a ranch. He goes through the whole story of how they went to Murray and Reddy's and got their work cards, and he's carrying Lenny's work card, and Lenny now, of course, remembers where he is going. Lenny then has a dead mouse in his pocket, so as George is talking to him and telling him everything that's going on, he's like, hey, what you got in your pocket? Turns out he has a dead mouse in his pocket. Why does he carry the dead mice? You should remember that the reason he carries those dead mice is because he likes to pet soft things. So George makes him throw that away. That could be considered some indirect characterization for George if you were working on your chart and you wanted to do something that he cares about Lenny, that he wants him to stay healthy, that he is intelligent, any of those things. The next thing that happens while they're in that clearing is George finally just kind of blows up a little bit. He blows up when Lenny keeps asking for ketchup to go on his beans. This is the last straw for George. George needs a break. He can't handle it anymore. And then he apologizes for it. We see that Lenny kind of tries to use that situation a little bit. But to make up, talk about the place where they're going to go live in the future, their American dream. And then the next one, number 5, George tells Lenny to remember the clearing in case he gets in trouble in the future. This is an example of the literary device. Which one? Foreshadowing. That's right. So this is some foreshadowing because this has come up twice now in our reading. Number 6, George and Lenny walk to the ranch. And when they get there, they meet Candy and then they meet the boss. That's number 6. Number 7 is the boss is suspicious because Lenny doesn't talk and George does all the talking for him. If you remember, the reason for that is George doesn't want the boss to hear Lenny say anything stupid before he gets to see him work, because he knows Lenny is a great worker and he wants to make sure that Lenny is working first. This, of course, makes the boss suspicious. He thinks that maybe George is stealing this guy's money or something. He's not really sure what's going on. Number 8, Curly comes in looking for his wife. When he comes in looking for his wife, he picks on Lenny. Number 9, George warns Lenny not to talk to Curly because he knows that that's going to be trouble. Number 10, George meets Slim. They all go to work. After a hard day's work, they all come back. And number 11, George and Slim talk. George reveals what happened in Weed and how he and Lenny are connected. So let's refresh our memories. What happened in Weed? Well, Lenny decided to touch some woman's dress because it was soft, and he wouldn't let go of the dress when she asked him to. So she decided to yell that she was raped, and all the men in the ranch want to kill them. So they have to run for their lives, and they hide in a drainage ditch for the day until the men stop looking for them. How are Lenny and George connected? Well, they're not related. They've just known each other all their lives. And when Lenny's Aunt Clara died, they just kind of tagged along together. They've just kind of been together ever since. That was number 11. Number 12, after that talk, Slim gives Lenny a puppy. Number 13, Lenny tries to sneak the puppy into the bunk, but when George catches him, he has to take it back to the barn because it needs to be with its mother. And it was at that point, number 14, that Slim realizes just how childish Lenny actually is. So that is a summary of pages 1 through 44. If you need to rewind to make sure you get that sheet done properly, go right ahead and make any changes. I want to show you what you're going to be working on today. So in your English class, hang on, here we go, and of Mice and Men, you're going to open up that characterization chart that we started when we did our Zoom meeting. Not sure if all of you were there, but we did have a Zoom meeting, and oh, that's a completed folder. We did have a Zoom meeting, and on the Zoom meeting, I went over first 2 lines on this characterization chart. Here is a video lesson from that day. In case you missed it, you want to go back and see it, you can watch this video lesson. This goes over the directions. Here is the assignment. This is the characterization activity. It is due by tonight at midnight. This is what you're working on for the rest of today. You will use your books for this. If you need a refresher on how to do it, then go back and watch that video I showed you before. But you should have, before the break, finished 1, 2, 3, and 4. That was your assignment on the e-learning day. Today you are finishing 5, 6, 7, and 8. It is due by midnight tonight. Please make sure that you're using correct MLA format whenever you're putting your quotes in. Here's an example of what that looks like. There's no period within the quote. Remember that? The period goes on the outside. You're finding an example of direct characterization for each of the characters, indirect characterization for each of the characters. After you find that indirect characterization, you're going to tell me, what does it tell me about the character? What character trait is being expressed? That's what goes in this box. This final box is you giving me a solid description of the character in general. Again, if you need to watch that video to refresh yourself on how to do this or to see how I did the first 2 boxes, feel free, but please make sure you submit this by tonight at midnight. Have a great day.